Last week I ate the last of the homemade sausages that I had in my freezer, so it's time to make some more. And this time I want to make beef sausages because there was some beef on sale untrimmed, so there was a lot of fat on it. And when you make sausages, you need a lot of fat, about 30%, 20 to 30% of the content should be fat. Now, I need to mention something here. The original recipe that I'm working from measured all of the herbs and spices in grams. So what I did was I did up a chart and I went through the grams and I tried to measure each spice or herb volumetrically. So I'm going to try to give you both in case you do things by teaspoons and tablespoons, etc. So anyways, let's make beef sausages. I'm ready to start grinding my beef and fat. What I have here is 2.5 pounds or 1.1 kilograms of chopped beef. I set up my KitchenAid with my meat grinder fitted with a medium-sized grinding disc. This is a Smokehouse Chef stainless steel grinder, not the plastic one KitchenAid sells. Although beef chuck is traditional, I'm using tri-tip because it was on sale and the price was lower than the chuck roast. As you can see from the white in that bowl, there is plenty of fat in there. For juicy and flavorful sausages, the fat should be 20 to 30% of the content. The meat is slightly frozen. It's better to work with really cold meat. And there is some of the meat coming out of the grinder. If I had one of those gigantic 100 horsepower or whatever grinders the professionals have, I'd be done by now. But making sausages at home a few at a time, this works plenty well enough. There is the last of my ground beef. There is still some unground meat in the auger, so I'll push some ground meat through to push that unground meat through the blade. Then when I take the grinder apart, there will be ground meat in the auger to add to my bowl. Anything that is still unground, like that piece of fat there, can be chopped with a knife. For seasoning, I have 17 grams, or about 1 tablespoon of table salt. If you use kosher salt, which has a larger crystal, you might want to use 1.5 tablespoons. Next, 9 grams of ground black pepper, or about 1.5 tablespoons. Then garlic powder, 4.5 grams, or about 1.5 teaspoons. Onion powder, 4 grams, or 1 teaspoon. Ground mustard, 3.5 grams, or about 1.75 teaspoons. Paprika, 5.5 grams, or about 2 teaspoons. If you want to use cayenne pepper, use 5.5 grams, or about 2.25 teaspoons. That's optional. I'm not using it. I don't like hot stuff. This is 1.5 grams of ground sage, which is kind of fluffy, so it's difficult to measure. I'm saying this is about 3/4 tablespoon. Ground cumin, 2.5 grams, or 1 teaspoon. And then optional, 2 grams, or 1/2 teaspoon of monosodium glutamate. I don't have a problem with MSG, so I'm using it. Now I'm ready to mix this up. I'm wearing rubber gloves, not because I'm cleaning the bathroom. I don't want to get ground meat under my fingernails. As I mix this, I'm also checking the texture. This will probably need some added moisture, so I measured 2.5 fluid ounces, or about 74 milliliters of water. This is feeling too dry, so I'm sure I'll need to add some water, but before I do, I want to distribute the spices evenly. And if the meat is too cold, feel free to run your hand under warm water for a few seconds and then continue. That's what I do. I decided to add the water. Now I can mix this in, distributing it evenly. Already the texture feels much better. If it's too stiff, you could end up with a dry sausage. Now this needs to be kneaded a few minutes until it is sticky. There is my meat filling. I'm covering it with plastic wrap to place this in the refrigerator for about an hour so that those spices can flavor the meat. Then I'll be ready to stuff some sausage casings. To taste for salt, make a small patty of ground meat. I'm going to shape mine with a spoon and then fry it until thoroughly cooked. Then I'll taste it and adjust for salt if necessary. I have my sausage stuffer set up and ready to use. This stuffer will hold 2.5 pounds of ground meat, which is what I have. Shape the meat into balls somewhat and drop into the cylinder, then press down to force out as much air as possible. There it is. My stuffer is filled almost to the top, a perfect fit. Now I'm ready to start stuffing sausage links. Align the plunger with the cylinder and start cranking it down. Crank until the meat just begins to appear at the end of the stuffer tube, or horn, as some people call it. I'm going to use collagen casing again because I have it and I want to use it up. These are 32 millimeter. I did order some natural hog casings from Amazon. To start my first sausage, I have meat just coming out of the end of the stuffer tube. I'm tying the casing closed with a string because collagen casings don't hold a twist like natural hog casings do. Holding back a little on the casing, push meat into the casing. These casings burst easily, so don't overfill them. I want 6-inch links, which is about 15 centimeters. Then finish the link with another tie of string. Start the next link by tying the beginning of it, and then fill the casing with ground beef. You just have to remember to remove these strings when you cook them. I get 8 to 10 sausages per batch of ground meat. So there they are. I got 9 sausage links. Even if I'm careful, I sometimes get a little air in the sausages that will cause the casing to burst when cooking. So I use a sausage pricker I made with a needle and a dowel to poke a few holes in each sausage. Besides letting the air out, it will also allow excess juices and or rendered fat to escape, helping to prevent bursting. The truth is these collagen casings burst when cooked anyway, so I don't know if poking holes is really necessary. I will definitely poke holes when I'm using natural hog casings. There is always some leftover meat in the horn and in the bottom of the stuffer. In this case, I weighed it and it came to 5.5 ounces, or about 156 grams. I have a use for this. I'll press this into 2 patties and then cook it for making panini with toasted rolls. Add some provolone cheese on top and it should taste pretty good. Look for that sandwich in the future. One thing I never made before, but I've had a fascination for it, is something called bangers and mash. It's a British dish of sausages and mashed potatoes. So, I have some mashed potatoes here. That looks pretty good. Put a couple sausages on top. Oops, gotta clean that up. And then spoon some brown gravy and caramelized onion on top. Finally add some peas. It looks good, doesn't it? Now to taste my first bangers and mash. Oh, this looks so good. I want to just taste my sausage first, since I just made these. That seasoning is just right. Get some of my potatoes and gravy. Water after 1. This is going to make a nice lunch. So excuse me while I use my homemade sausages in my bangers and mash.